A lot of us are planning future races. A lot of us have races, big races that we've already done this year. You know, we've already had a lot of the marathon majors already. And of course, as we move into winter and then into spring, we are going to have even more big races that we work towards. So with that, all of us are going to be kind of pushing the boundaries. We're going to be pushing ourselves. We want to reach our best potential, and that can make us tired. It builds fatigue. But how do you know the difference between fatigue and burnout? Because burnout's a real thing. It might not seem like it if you're in like a healthy place of training right now. You've got a good balance, but there's a thin line. So in today's video, I'm going to be giving you 5 symptoms of burnout so you can kind of recognize it before it gets too bad and you can make those changes. This is also the weekly running and training vlog where I want to hear from you. I want to hear about your previous week of training. I want to hear about your successes, and I definitely want to hear about your setbacks. And I say I definitely want to hear about your setbacks because that's how we all learn. Hopefully, if you've had a setback and we all hear about it, perhaps we won't have the same setback. It's like when I twisted my ankle a couple months ago. I did that because I was running in the dark without a light and I tripped on a broken piece of cement. That is something that I want you to learn from me. I don't want you making my stupid mistakes. And then in a few minutes, I'm going to be telling you about my week of training, the runs that I did, and all that stuff. So let's get into it. Burnout. How you can recognize it. Some of the symptoms. Let's go. Okay, here's the thing. Here's the tricky thing, because you and I are runners and we are told that we have to push ourselves. We have to push past discomfort because running is not always comfortable, right? You've heard it here multiple times how motivation is kind of something that comes and goes, but discipline is what we have to pay attention to if we want to be the best runner we can be. But there is too much of a good thing. If we are so disciplined that we don't listen to our body when it's talking to us, we're going to end up in a bit of a pickle. Maybe a physical injury pickle, maybe a mental injury pickle. And guys, I'm certainly not telling you not to be disciplined, not to have perseverance to get through your runs, because these are traits. These are traits that benefit us not just in our running, but in our whole life. Tenacity, determination, perseverance. These are traits that breed success in life and in running. So we're going to be talking about the symptoms of burnout, and I just want you to keep these in the back of your mind, or if they start to raise their head, you will know how to recognize them and you'll know how to combat it. And a lot of the times, combating it is just a matter of taking a bit of time off. So I want you to be determined. I don't want you to be relentlessly determined to complete a workout because it can have some negative side effects. Number 1, the first symptom of burnout. Now, this is not in any particular order. This is just number 1 because it's the first one I'm telling you about today. But the first symptom of burnout is that you're not recovering in your workouts. So you might notice it this way. You might be going out for an interval run and you're not able to hit the pace. You're not able to hit the splits that you normally do. And what's more, maybe in between these intervals, during the recovery time, your heart rate isn't coming down. You're not able to feel fresh again to go for that second interval. And like I said, these are just symptoms of burnout. There are other variables that we have to consider. So obviously, if one day is a lot warmer than another day that you did a workout, perhaps you might not be able to hit those splits. But just take that with a pinch of salt. Keep your eye on it. So if you find yourself in that situation where you're not hitting your paces, you're not recovering in between intervals, it may be time to pull the plug on that workout. Or if most of us, I think, that are dedicated to our goals, you decide to push through, maybe time to add in another recovery day. Just a little more rest to let your body recover and get stronger. Soak up that goodness that you're doing by doing those intervals. Listen to your body, my friends. If you find that extra recovery day or 2 isn't really working and you're still going out and you're not able to hit the splits, it might be time to reevaluate the plan. Maybe time to reevaluate your goals. Okay guys, I just have to tell you that I have experienced each one of these that I'm going to be telling you about during my running life at some point. Right now, I think I'm in a pretty good space, like mental health with my training, but it hasn't always been that way. So just know that if you are experiencing any of these, I have certainly been there. And in fact, I'm sure you, maybe not you, but someone watching this video has also been there. So be sure to reach out. Let us know in the comments if you've experienced any of these symptoms. We can get a conversation going. No shame in the game, guys. It is what it is. But what if you like this kind of running content? Why don't you go ahead and give this video a thumbs up? It really does help me. It does help my channel. And of course, if you're not subscribed, consider doing so. The second symptom of burnout is that your workouts have become a source of guilt, or they've become more of a burden. So you and I, we're well versed in life and how it works, and sometimes we have to prioritize one thing over another. But if you ever find that you are experiencing guilt from not being able to do the workout that is prescribed, or not even prescribed, not being able to do the workout that you want to, it may be a sign of burnout. So ultimately, We are runners, but we're people first. We have other commitments before running. There are very few of us watching this video right now who are actually have running as a job, that running actually pays the bills. For most of us, running is fun, so we have to keep that priority in check. And if you find that running is becoming too big of a priority, if you're letting it run your life, if you're deprioritizing the other important things like family, work, sleep, it's time to reassess those goals. Maybe take a step back for a couple days and see how you feel before you move on with your plan. Running is a fun thing. We like to set goals, we like to achieve goals. But guys, let's be real. It's not the most important thing. Okay, the third symptom of burnout that you may experience is that your appetite is just out of control. And that's even on easy days. Well, let's go a step further and say even on off days. And when I was researching this video and I saw this, I recognized this right away. There have been times in my training life where my off days, I seem to be more hungry than on my training days. So if you find yourself craving salty and sweet snacks more often than usual, this could be a sign that those hunger hormones in your body are being hijacked by cortisol, the stress hormone. So maybe even doing just a bit too much. Your body is responding by increasing cortisol, which is making you hungry. Could be a sign of burnout, guys. So if stress eating is something that becomes commonplace to you, it might be time to adjust your training. Now, of course, you could be stress eating for a completely different stressor. And if that's the case, keep up the good work in your training. Moving along to the fourth symptom of burnout, and that is your relationships are suffering. Now, if you have seen interviews of big athletes who spend a lot of time doing their sport, you've probably heard them thank their significant other for picking up their slack around the house with childcare, with household tasks, because they are spending so much time training. If you have trained for a marathon, you've probably experienced this. If you have trained for a triathlon, I can pretty much guarantee that you have experienced this. Oftentimes, we are squeezing in our workout early in the day, or we're squeezing it in later in the day when it fits best with our schedule, but there are going to be times when it does interfere. So if your training has become a source of tension in your relationships, it is probably time to reassess your training. Maybe come to an agreement with your significant other about how much time you're going to put into training. Because guys, as we said earlier in the video, there are more important things than running. But guys, you don't want relationship tension. Your happiness at home is directly relational to how happy you're going to be running. The term happy wife, happy life comes to mind, but I need something that's more well-rounded for people that don't have wives. If you can think of something like that that rhymes with husband or partner, let me know in the comments. Now, the fifth symptom of burnout is that you've been in a bad mood. You've been in the funk for longer than usual. Now, I don't want anyone thinking that you can't be in a bad mood. It's totally normal to have mood fluctuations that go up and down. But if you start noticing that you have been in a bad mood more often than you've been in a good mood, probably time to take a look at your training. That could be a contributing factor to your sour mood. Now, I'm certainly not talking about clinical depression. We're just talking about a mood that is a little lower than usual. And I know we can all relate to this. It's very difficult to be up all the time. So if you find that you have a negative attitude or a lack of enthusiasm for life or for your running, it's time to take a look at that training. Time to refocus, maybe reprioritize a couple of tasks, maybe take a couple of days off and see if things get better. So I guess the primary thing that you can do in this case is to take a good look at yourself and ask yourself, is your training making you in a better mood, or is it contributing to a negative mood? If you're finding that the thought of going out for your run is bringing you down, I think you know what you need to do. All right, well guys, I had a great week of running. I started off on Monday with a nice easy run, which you know how I like to do. 7.6 miles, nice and cruisy, just going out, turning my legs over. Because Tuesday, I had to have an easy day because Tuesday was a workout day. And I knocked out a total of 9.35 miles, but in those 9.35 miles, I included 6 1-mile repeats with 2 miles recovery in between. And I was actually able to hit my splits. As you're already aware, I am using the Hansen's marathon method, so I do have an assigned pace for these mile repeats, and I adjusted the pace based on the temperature and the dew point that morning. So I actually finished that run feeling really good. Felt like I put in a good effort, but I didn't push too hard where it was going to thrash me for the rest of the day. Wednesday, I managed to knock out 10.3 miles, very easy. Now, Wednesday is a scheduled off day, but I decided to push my off day further down the week to Friday because Friday is a work day, and it's a lot more difficult for me to get my runs in on a work day than a day I'm off. We make hay while the sun shines, right? Thursday was my tempo session. I managed to knock out 12 miles in total, but that included 2 miles of warm-up, 8 miles at tempo pace or goal marathon pace, and 2 miles cool down. And just like those mile intervals, I did adjust my pace based on the weather, which just made it a little more doable. Now, I've got to be honest, in the first 2 miles of that tempo run, I was questioning myself about could I hold on to this pace? But I did find that as my body warmed up, that pace became more doable. It did take a little bit of mind gymnastics to get my head in the right place for moving forward at that pace, but I did it and I felt great. Friday was a great day off. I felt like I didn't want to take it, but I knew I needed to take it just to let that training soak in. And when I say day off, I meant day off from running. I did knock out some time on the Peloton that day. Saturday, I managed to knock out 7.8 miles, but I did run over to my local mall and I ran up and down the car park. So just getting in those little hills that I've been trying to actually get in at least once a week just to get a little vert. And to be clear, when I run over to those hills, it's not a workout. I'm just trying to do an easy run, but also get a bit of incline. Because if I just run around the house, it's as flat as a pancake. And then I wrapped up Sunday with a nice and easy 7.4 miles, although it was very toasty. It was actually 74 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 23.3 Celsius. And I started my run at 4 in the morning. So yeah, that was a real soaker. Bringing my week's total to 54.5 miles, which is about 88 kilometers. And I did spend some time in the saddle on the Peloton, knocked out a shade under 133 miles, which is about 214 kilometers. So yeah, very good week. Be kind, be happy, run well. I'll see you guys in a couple of days.